Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Racing Line, the Formula One podcast by fans, for fans. Oscar's back on top. The boys are up and about, but it's chilly in the headquarters. I think it's time we invest in a heater because in Australia it's getting a little cold. Not as cold as what it can be, but it's time to warm up. But anyway, we've got all the goodies for us tonight. I'm joined by the full crew after Tristan leaving us. Lance Stroll-esque. Lance Stroll's now following you. He's doing
really?
the things you're doing.
Like what? Throwing a fit?
He's decided to not turn up to races anymore. Like you didn't turn up to the podcast.
No.
And but yeah,
But
you are back.
I'm back, which is great. And thanks.
You're looking refreshed.
I feel refreshed. You know how you always tell us that you get like DMs and stuff, like people.
Feedback.
I got lots over the week off, just people,
We missed you.
Gee, we missed you. Where are you?
And it was nice of Shane
It was lovely.
to send you
like,
that.
where have you been? This is the worst hour of my life because when I listened to you, had someone say they quit their job temporarily. I hope they're back in. So I'm back. Episode's back. Podcast back. The world is right again.
Who told us we had feedback this week? And I had to bring it up. Now I've forgotten who gave
feedback?
us. Someone gave us feedback, and I said to
feedback
remind me
today?
to bring that up.
Might have been Tom.
It was Tom.
What was the feedback?
Now I can't remember the feedback.
Actually, we got feedback for you.
Oh, good.
We did because he wasn't here last week.
No, that's right. Oh, yes.
We have got feedback for you.
I'll find it.
Welcome, Shane.
I'll find it. Hey,
thank
Shane.
We've got some feedback
Thank you,
coming.
Roger.
It's good feedback too.
No, it's not.
No, it's funny. Like I thought.
It's good for us.
It's good for us. It's not good for you.
Yes. And our reserve driver, Sam, who stepped up. He stepped up like a good reserve driver does. Yep. When all else fails, the Drugovich.
Bunny.
Drugovich, Bunny, reserve driver. Sam, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, going all right, Rog. And yeah, really good to have the full crew back for all segments coming up and everything. It's going to be quite a good race. I'm really quite excited for this one. So,
And while we're on it, the other feedback I get all the time is I never introduce myself. So, hi, I'm Roger Byron from Beyond the Racing Line. Feedback on, while we're going for feedbacks, Tristan, go on.
Yeah.
You got it?
Oh, sorry, I will.
So
just
Nat Pollard. Nat Pollard.
Yeah, we don't have to read it. We know what it is. Yeah.
Yep. It's a little grinding, Shane, when you call the Monaco Grand Prix Monaco. Apparently, which really surprised me. But then when she just said it, I was like, oh, you know what? He probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monaco is a very Australian way of saying the Monaco Grand Prix.
Gee, last time I checked, I was from Australia too.
Yeah. So no, she's not happy. Nat's not happy.
No. Very grinding.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller.
No, you're going to be better. Feedback's a gift.
Absolutely.
I used to get feedback on Seb Vettel because I used to call him Vettel all the time, and you used to give me that feedback. Yeah. And I could not. Once I got myself into that habit, I couldn't get out of it.
No.
It was the weirdest thing. I knew I was saying the wrong thing.
Tireless mispronunciation of driver names.
Yeah.
No, so that's your feedback, Shane.
Okay.
Yeah, feedback's a gift.
And now I'll probably keep on saying the same thing.
Monaco.
Do you want a bit of a right of reply to Nat?
Nah, I don't care.
Nah, good.
Of course you do.
You do.
Oh, dear. We've got all the goodies. We'll see how we're travelling. We've got segments lined up. I tell you, we've given these guys the rights, Tristan.
I know.
And they are lining them up.
It's like having two apprentices on board. Just waiting to go full pay.
I don't think I've ever seen an apprentice really pushing that hard.
I think I've ever
these
seen
two
an
are
apprentice
getting them lined up, and they're new segments, and they are great. And so, anyway, we're going to have to move through because I want them on.
I know.
I want them on,
and I
we've
feel like we've got
segments lined up for next episode.
Oh God, that's aggressive.
It's
I
good.
already feel
It's great.
overwhelmed with the amount of notes that come in.
I feel like you are really being shown
I
up.
don't think so.
I think we can just probably
People
drop
want me.
F1 Fantasy out of it. We probably don't need to.
Wow.
we
need Dr. Auto Art would have a problem with that.
That's exactly right. And
Yes.
Chris is a highly important
I need to be
member
brought
of
back down to earth.
our thing. Anyway, no, that's good. I wonder sometimes if there's show notes. Like I could print off anything. I could print off a web page and bring it in. And
Well, you don't.
I know. I'm just saying I
haven't?
could. That's what I'm saying.
That hasn't happened yet.
I feel like it's show
We've
notes.
talked about all the
It's never gonna
episodes
happen
that you
either.
haven't been away with.
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
I have got an opening question for
Have
us.
you?
Comes from Kingsley.
Oh, good.
I've got this out of order, haven't I? We usually do a quick race ranking. What was your race ranking from the weekend? The Spanish Grand Prix, Barcelona. Possibly the second last one, although, mind you, there's a push for it to not be the second last one.
Probably 8. I don't think I could go a 9. 9's like... Yeah, no, 8.
We used to can this track.
Yeah, I know.
It has improved dramatically since they've ironed out that last corner to put it back to where it should be.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, so no, 8 for me.
I think that's fair.
I'm going 8.
Yep, going 8.
Okay.
Unanimous 8.
I'm on board. I don't think we ever agree on everything. I'll go an 8.
No.
Yeah, it was a good, exciting Grand Prix, wasn't it? You just never quite knew what Max was going to be able to pull out because Max is a different beast.
Absolutely.
And we saw that in its entirety on the weekend. Opening question comes from Kingsley.
Yep.
And it's a really good one for this one. And I reckon we've had it before, but I want to run with it. And I'll let you go beyond Formula One if you'd like to.
Okay.
What's the funnest conspiracy theory that you've heard? Kingsley's current one is that the Lance Stroll situation, which we will discuss in full detail, is a way of them exiting him out of Formula One. This is one of Adrian Newey's grand plans. It's to how he's going to come in.
Boot him.
They're going to exit him out in a way that it doesn't have to be, he's not good enough. He just can't because he's now injured and his wrist won't put up with the demands of Formula One. What's your favourite one? Currently, my current other favourite one is that Max is trying to drop enough points so that he not fourth in the championship.
Oh, yeah, to activate.
I think does he have to get to fourth or does he have to get a little below fourth?
I don't know, yeah.
To activate the exit clause, he's got 2 races to make that happen.
Yeah, jeez, conspiracy theory.
What other conspiracy theories? We've had some goodies, like Spygate.
Really?
The funny thing about Formula One
That's an
conspiracy
actual
theories
thing,
is lots of them turn out to be true.
I was going to say, that's like a thing.
Shane, you've got one.
I can't think on the spot.
I can't think
apart
of a
from the Rattlegun
conspiracy.
Man.
Tell me. Oh, yeah.
Because he actually turned around and he actually pulled his socks up on the weekend.
Listener of the pod, because clearly we could see a difference.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
I think it's actually Lando probably lost out a little bit. I reckon Lando lost a second.
Yeah, he was a 3. He had a 3-second stop.
Yeah, okay.
Wasn't the same spot though.
One of the funniest conspiracy theories I hear is Essendon's an AFL team.
That's good.
This is an international pod.
You did
That's a national gag. That's not going to work.
Slagging.
Yeah, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Well,
all our
we
listeners,
can actually explain it to the listeners.
all our listeners overseas, all around the world. We've got to think internationally, fellas.
That's good.
Sam, you got one? You'll have one.
Oh, for the F1? Or
Yeah, well, anything you like.
Okay.
What's a funny conspiracy theory that you've heard in sport?
For the F1 especially, it just has to be, all those little technological innovations, like the phase-changing wheels with McLaren. So apparently they've got this fan-dangled material that can undergo phase change. So it goes from solid to semi-liquid to cool down the brakes, and Red Bull are pushing this agenda. And the same thing with water in the wheels from last year, and then Zach Brown heckling them this year at Miami with the water bottle.
With his drink bottle.
Yep. So just those sort of like technological conspiracy theories. I'm
like
still
it,
wondering about the Ferrari engine. Like to this day, it is the great
unknown.
It's like the JFK assassination of F1. Like, what was that engine doing? How did they get it past? And then what was... Yeah, but then they eventually...
And then eventually not. And then agreeing to just turn everything down for a year and have a terrible year.
So that's just sort of like the JFK of...
What year was that when Ferrari had that great engine and no engine?
It's a little while ago.
2019.
Yeah.
You were very up and down about that.
Oh, yeah. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
Got one for me, Tristan?
Conspiracy theory.
I mean, we start a lot of them.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
if we're being honest.
But like you said, they all turn out to be true, don't they? Like, the crack chassis, Seb's alleged crack chassis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's probably one that we don't know whether it was true or not. And, talking about whether Mark's engines were turned down by the PU team for certain races. But then always, the rumour of telling Seb that his chassis was cracked every time he beat Mark. Every time Mark beat him. Just to sort of, again, whether or not that was true or not, we don't know. But yeah.
Okay.
And you can apply that up and down the field. How many times has the driver been told their chassis is broken? Look at Dan, for example. Dan and Yuki in the RB.
When he changed that.
But that's sort of...
There was a little uplift, though, wasn't there?
So maybe that was probably more one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that was a placebo effect, though, cracking in. Yeah.
Anyway, probably that one.
Okay, all right, good. I like it. All quite relevant and new. I like this. Let's get into the weekend. Barcelona, I mean, it wasn't, maybe it was led by me, but it wasn't getting a great rap. We were ready for it to go. It was announced that it was going. I probably celebrated a little bit. There seems to be a little bit of a rejuvenated love for the place lately, hasn't there? It seems to have, last year, it all seemed to work out pretty well, and this year we've seen a really great race again. And since they've made those slight changes to the track, has it now got its spot back on the Formula One grid where we're like, well, we might be sad to see it go?
I don't know if it's sad to see it go. I think the move from testing away from Barcelona has probably given it a bit more life.
Because everyone knew everything what the cars were going to
which
do.
is kind of like what you get at Qatar now, don't you? You go testing there, you're pretty aware. We don't, I certainly don't rate that one. But then that's probably given Barcelona a bit of life back because we arrived with the unknown. Whereas, 4 or 5 years ago, we knew the pecking order and then that was generally right. So, have we fallen back in love with it? Meh, not really.
I mean, it gave us a good race last race.
It gave us a good race.
Gave us a good race this race.
I don't know.
Shane, you back in love with it? Or did you ever fall out of love of it?
I did with that chicane.
Yep.
And, it just made it a bit boring. I understand what they're trying to do with it, but, just that extra tyre wear with that last turn going flat out. It's great. I mean, I don't play F1 games too often. I don't have enough time, but...
Lord, we're in a
Sounds like
church
you
here.
just play the piano.
Yikes.
But it's one of the favourite tracks to play on.
Yes,
in those
it
F1
is.
games.
It is fun on
and
there.
it's back now that it's got that last.
Yep. I must say, one thing I haven't mentioned on the pod yet so far is Shane forgot his headset, and so it's the in the drawer. I've been waiting to pull it out for somebody. We've got a lovely pink and blue set that my daughter has grown up from.
Real sort of...
My 9-year-old daughter has
they
moved on from the pink and blue headset.
I don't know if it
She's taller than
highlights...
me already anyway.
I know, and it covers your ears, so I don't know if that's highlighting to us that you've actually got incredibly small ears. You just can't see them around it. And looking at what it is...
I think the beanie helps,
Yeah, beanie helps there. Yeah, it's like real pass. It's not your best look.
I'm glad we haven't moved to video podcasts.
Yeah, well, there has been a little bit of talk about getting into that.
This is probably why.
That's right.
Yeah.
This sort of professionalism.
And we are a professional outfit.
Well, when we say we. Sam, are you in love with Barcelona or not?
Liking it. Like, it's gone up a few spots on the calendar, and I think it's really one that I want the sprint race to happen. Like, I want one of the tokens to be given to Barcelona because it's nice and wide, plenty of wide corners that you can make your overtakes in.
Short laps?
Short laps.
I think a short lap works for a sprint race, yep.
So, like, rather than having it, say, Spa, where you just want the pure race and that's it for the weekend, like, really good setup so the Spa is absolutely brilliant. I wouldn't mind if that token went to Barcelona, make it a sprint weekend, and I'd be really happy with that. I really like how the chicane's taken away. I hate doing the chicane now on the simulators. It feels so awkward, no matter what the car. So, all things good.
Yeah, like I say, I mean, it is due to have its last race next year, and Madrid's going to be next year. There's a little bit of talk whether Madrid's going to happen because a few people are starting to get concerned, like they always do with a new race coming in. Is it going to be ready? They generally get it together in time, but I think we heard that about Miami, and I think we heard that about Jeddah when we were there, so I imagine it will happen. But there has been a bit of a push from the likes of Fernando Alonso and a few other people to see if we can find a spot for it on the calendar. So I don't know that Spain's going to support 2 races too well. I'm not sure it's a huge revenue maker for Formula One at the moment, but I wouldn't be disappointed to see it sort of hang around in some shape or form. We'll wait and see what Madrid does. We mightn't like that one. Sounds like there's a dog racing past the shed. Qualifying, well, is there anything we need to talk about through practice? I don't think so. There was a few bits and pieces happening through practice, but qualifying saw that Oscar could build the biggest gap for qualifying pole for the season so far. In saying that, it has been remarkable at how close it's been. I don't think there's been more than a 10th in any qualifying so far this season.
Really
until this season. Until this race just gone, where we saw a 2/10 lead from Oscar onto Norris. Max once again pulled out all stops to finish in third, qualifying third, and then we were moved back from there. But yeah, it was interesting. All eyes was on the Piastri and Norris battle for pole because it is an important track for pole. Had Norris had a bit of an upturn since Imola in the race, and then Monaco, wasn't sure because they are such unusual tracks. So but anyway, we saw that Oscar sort of had the wood on him again, and he seemed to have it on him all weekend. I'm not sure that Norris has really got an answer for him at the moment.
Yeah, I think his snap out of turn 5, I think, cost him more than anything. So
who are we talking about?
Lando. I'm talking about Lando here.
Yep.
So while Oscar was ahead, I think probably for me qualifying was decided by that. I feel like Lando maybe to that point had him and probably would have got it. Just that's my gut feeling. I just feel he would have gone him and he made the error. Where Oscar didn't make the error, so...
I think if you move away from your gut feeling and use the
Just-
data, it would suggest that he was ahead of him for a fair bit through that
the
lap.
onboards now. I do like
Yeah.
the ghosts. I think you do like the ghosts that we're starting to see
Yeah,
on Sky and
yeah,
feed.
yeah.
It's good to see that and see who's ahead and who's not.
And which part of the track. It's amazing how
Absolutely.
much it does change.
Yeah, so no.
I actually thought that Oscar was going to do the same thing, not put it together in Q3 because Lando.
That's
had,
been your big knock on him, hasn't
yeah,
it?
and Lando had that first lap was faster, so he was. The pressure was on Oscar, and he rose, and I think he had 3 purple sectors. So
Yeah.
Well,
at least
the
two.
first lap, the drag was proven to give Norris the benefit. So, and Norris, I love that. That was
Very
so.
cheeky.
As Oscar said, it was cheeky, but it was great racecraft because it was a track where you could really nail that because you had to be so slow on your outlap.
Yeah.
And so you could really set yourself up to, as long as you're within the deltas, I guess, set yourself up to go and make the most of that. And he did. I felt like Oscar was all about, right, I'm going to set a safe lap, and then I'm going to go and get it. And, yeah, that's when he went and did. So it was really nice
Both
to
got
see.
vastly different approaches, don't they? Where Lando's like the first one, Oscar's more of a slow build.
Yeah.
especially over the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a methodical approach.
Yeah.
Yep. Sam, anything from qualifying that you want to point out?
Not really, because I was doing my last night shift at the time. So, but I sort of looked at the sheet and thought it's really good that the McLarens are at the top, that the Ferraris were actually going really well. Like all the numbers were just sort of pointing towards that. A lot of things were going to happen at the front. A lot of things were going to happen at the midfield, and Colapinto's at the back. So just looking at the raw numbers after doing night shift, I thought this will hopefully be a good race. Like hopefully it's not going to be a procession, but to have the biggest gap from Piastri is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yep.
It's an interesting strategy from Leclerc to save a set of tyres and only do one run early on in that Q3.
And it did actually cost him, though, didn't it? Because I
He
think
lost
Leclerc,
he was ahead of Hamilton that
Leclerc
before
started
that.
7th in the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, we saw what sort of pace he did have eventually. But
Is that awareness that quality is poor, so let's not even bother with it?
yes, race car over qualifying car, they have talked about that.
Yeah.
But, it was an interesting race in terms of what people were doing with tyres because of the possible extra stops required and using the softs and the softs running out. So, yeah,
And Yuki last. in
Yuki
qualifying.
last.
Yeah.
What caused that?
Not putting the pedal down hard
He
enough.
wasn't
being
very
a fast-
good.
Not
Very
being
good.
a fast driver.
Oh, okay, we'll see if he got a pass or a fail in a minute.
No, I was waiting for that.
We'll wait and see. Getting into the race, what we saw, the nerves from the Australians was after the last time Oscar was on pole, which was Imola. He got beaten into the corner, and this was an even longer run, and so the chances of that happening was even larger. But this time round, Oscar got the perfect start. We saw Max and Norris sort of squabbling for position leading into the first corner, but yeah, Oscar was off and away, and it was from an Australian point of view, it was lovely to see. And from there, it was just went straight to control mode, really, wasn't it? For Oscar, you had to bring these tyres in slowly. We saw him build a gap, but then he went into that mode of, right, I'm going to bring these tyres in. And then, just build a nice little gap and just held it for quite a while. We saw Max and Norris. Max beat Norris into the corner. God, I'm trying to think now.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
Max had second place in the first quarter.
Yeah, yep. Oh, and did we nearly see someone else come in around Norris too, I think, at one point.
Yep.
Maybe it was
George
George.
was the big loser out of that.
Yeah, and then George got cooked in the end, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Yep. We saw plenty of drivers run wide in that first corner, which is one of my big bugbears. I don't know why we give so much allowances for a first corner in a race. I think you should be held to account with that. But anyway, they're allowed to, unless this car's
Followed the race director's notes, so...
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. You do what you do.
Yep.
If that's what the rules suggest. But yeah, and then it was a race of Oscar just making sure that he's managing tyres, and then because these softs were lasting, but if you punish them, they weren't going to last, and it was about managing those tyres. We saw Max really push hard and then come in quite early and set himself up for a 3-stopper pretty early. And that was the intrigue across the race, I think, from there. It was, can Max pull off a 3-stop in some fast fashion? As long as he's going for a 3-stop, I was fairly confident that the McLaren boys were going to keep ahead of him. And then the questions started coming in, and he couldn't help but ask the questions. Even though your logical mind was saying he was definitely coming in for another stop, you couldn't help but ask that question in your mind. What if Max doesn't need to stop? What's going to happen then?
Yeah.
What can Max pull off? Because Max is certainly something special. But in the end, we didn't see that, because right towards the end, and I think we sort of decided where everything was going to play out anyway, but right towards the end, we got that safety car, which meant that everyone came in for some fresh tyres, and Max, having used all his tyres, had to go to a hard, and that was it for that part of the race. We can talk about Max in a minute further on. Anything you wanted to mention about the McLaren boys, Shane?
Yeah, that I was annoyed a little bit. Not annoyed. It would have been interesting to see if there was no big gap. If Lando had got out of the first corner in second place, what they would have done with pitting first and things like that. Because that one conspiracy theories I have that Zach wants Lando to win.
Yep.
Thankfully, Oscar was enough ahead that he could not get undercut. But he still lost so many seconds in those 2 extra laps early. He went in.
Yep.
So, or one each pit stop. So, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see who they pitted first. That would have been a real test of. That would have had to have been Oscar's call. The Papaya rules states that, but yeah, when you're trying to, they could very easily argue that they're trying to protect the second place runner from the field behind, I guess.
But then would and if they had undercut him, would they have let him?
They would have had to give it back.
Yeah,
They've proven they would.
but-
They've proven they would do it, didn't they? They right the wrongs. They've proven that. But yeah, what do you think, Sam? Anything else you want to mention?
Not really, just with how everything's so tight at the top. I think that when it came down to the pit stops and the double stack, or do we let Oscar extend by 1 or do we let Lando extend by 1? Just whichever decision was going to be made, I was really on the edge of my seat, because with it being so tight there, I don't want either driver to be put in the wrong, but at the same time, I don't want team orders to favour someone and have an outcry, and that's the main thing.
It was, yeah.
I want it to just be fair.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
It was a lovely race for strategy. It was an old school. This is a strategic race which we're going to be watching. Felt like drivers were giving it a fair bit. It didn't feel like they were holding off. The McLaren boys at one point were told to push a bit harder, and they didn't want to because they wanted to get the tyres to where they needed them. But yeah, it was fun like that. I quite enjoyed it, and I think you mentioned to me today, Shane, the 3 versus 2 stop race is the ultimate one. The 1 versus 2 doesn't quite give us that strategic edge, whereas the 3 to 2 is quite interesting.
And it does keep you on your edge. It's just a little bit like when they used to have refuelling.
Yep.
That added just that extra dimension again, because how many kilos of fuel did that car put in and so on. It just mixed it up that little bit extra.
You've been quiet.
Oh, you advanced everything, haven't you?
Everything's sorted.
First week back.
He's got the peanuts or the beer nuts, so he's right.
He's got the beer
I'm
nuts.
just enjoying being here.
You do look quite happy.
I'm just happy to be here.
Happy, yeah.
his
I'm just
blanket
happy
on.
to be here. Got my blanket.
We're running for our drinks around the world as we go around the world, around the circuits. We're running so we're in Spain.
Yep.
What have we had so far, boys? We've had
beer.
round 1 was beer. There's lots of
More
different
beer.
types of beers.
Lots of beers.
I'm looking at the
then-
bar over there. It's quite different.
Yep.
Then we went off.
Yep.
We went off to
What's that one?
Japan.
Do we have that one? Then we're Japan.
Oh
China.
yeah, Japan. Yes. What do we have in Japan? Asahi.
Asahi.
Oh no, we had sake.
Sake. Yeah.
Yes.
Sake
Did
shop.
you like that one? No.
Yeah.
You want to do some more? You want some more? You want to get you some more? No, I didn't think so. And then after that, we
Then we
were
had the
to
iced
China.
tea. We had the iced tea. What was that?
I actually got some of them.
Was that one of the Saudi or Bahrain
Yes.
episodes that I was
What do we
saying
have in
about?
China?
It's iced tea.
That was the Lucky
the
Sevens
Buddha.
beer.
Cause
Oh
I told-
yes, that's
told you
right. We
about
had the Buddha
glass.
bed. Yeah,
that was good.
Buddha
wasn't
beer.
it? Yep.
Yep. And then we went to
Then we had
the
the-
Middle East. We
yep.
had some iced
The
tea.
tea, that was good.
You liked
I
that one.
love iced tea.
Yeah. See, we've only had one beer at this
I
point
know.
of the season.
I wouldn't say one. Would you
And
have
then two.
Two.
one? No,
and
but
then
Australia was a smattering of
yeah. Well, I gave you that over 2 episodes, I think.
yeah.
Prosecco in Imola.
Went to Prosecco in Imola.
Yep.
And so I thought, oh, well, I won't do beer. We were talking about a Stella beer, a Stella,
Estella.
something like
Those
that. There's an R in there. But I decided...
Estrella.
Estrella. Yeah, that's it. Yep. But anyway,
Have I
we're
got
going
that
to
right,
a
Nat?
Tempranillo. So Spain is famous for its red wine. Famous for its red wine. And we're running a Tempranillo, which is very much a Spanish wine. What are your thoughts, Tristan?
Yeah, no. Not good. It's aggressive.
Jeez, you are.
It's
hard.
aggressive.
It's aggressive.
Go on, tell me. Go on, have a sip.
No,
Tell
I
me.
did before.
Yeah,
I tried
give me
not
your tasting notes.
Oh, tasting
That's
notes.
what you reckon you're going to do. What are you
Okay.
smelling?
I don't know.
Wine. He's smelling red wine.
Wine in a
Red
glass.
wine.
In your...
Come on, give me something. What can you taste?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. No, I can't taste it. I can taste red wine that you've given me. That's I couldn't tell you what... God, that's awful.
Nothing on the nose?
Nothing, no.
Wow.
No, it doesn't smell. What does it smell?
Yeah.
Oh, gee, no.
Have you ever had a red wine that you've enjoyed?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nothing like, that's awful.
What do you think, Shane?
Well, I'm a little bit like Tristan. I don't do smells and that stuff. I couldn't tell you
what
what
it
fruit's coming
smells
out,
like.
but I like it.
Yeah.
I know if I like it or I don't. And
Oh,
I do like it.
I'm the exact same there.
Like, it smells like what you've given me.
I laugh my head off. In the wine world, there's wine wankers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and wine wankers are all too much around the wine. Oh, I can smell this, I can smell that. Yeah, right.
Like cleaning products come to mind.
Yeah, and then there's wine snobs who only drink the best. I'll only drink the best. This one I find is a very easy drinking wine. You like it or you don't. I think it's all right. Sam, thoughts? Are you a wine drinker?
Not a wine drinker, but after working in BWS, you sort of have to be like a part-time wine wanker to sort of make in the industry. So after doing a tasting course in that, so it's a little bit earthy, getting a tiny bit of spice in it.
Earthy.
Quite bold, and getting a little bit of dark cherry on the nose. So
there you go.
Jerry, what do you smell?
yep. So then
and-
that is how you sell the $30 bottle of wine.
Shane and Tristan have gone back to see if they can taste any of those things.
It smells like what I cleaned my
Where's
shower
the cherry
with the
gone?
other week.
Roger, didn't give me
Could
the part.
not even... Not if cherry wasn't even on my mind.
Roger didn't give me the part with the
Jesus.
cherry in it. No,
And
that's the other part of the bottle. Yeah.
I've left. There's no cherry in mine. I know you get your cherries from Sam, but bloody hell, mate, get a new fruit shop.
It's
Far
a
out.
Toro Macho for anyone playing at home. Great value bottle of Tempranillo here in Australia. You won't find a better value
I
bottle.
always ask myself, like, do you have this general knowledge about it, or do you sit down and Google this before we arrive?
What have I said? All I've said is the
don't
name of the
know.
bottle.
I feel highly educated when you go through it. This is the most...
Well, see, I grew up.
most
My
attentive I
family
am to you.
holidays.
Yeah.
My family holidays when I was a kid was we'd travel around Australia, and we were very lucky. We'd sort of see lots of places around Australia.
I know.
One of the things we would do is we'd visit wineries all
feel
around
like your
Australia.
mum and dad would
one of
pass
the
this knowledge down
coolest,
to you.
yeah, one of the
Yeah.
coolest things is seeing all the cellar doors. I hated it at the time. Oh, maybe I didn't hate it. I didn't mind it at the time.
Yep.
One of the coolest things you do is go to all these cellar doors, and you get to see where the wine's made. And you hear them talk about it. When they go start tasting it,
Yep.
that would get boring for me, so I go off and do something else. But the smell now, if you walk in a cellar door and I smell it, it's like, oh, it's beautiful.
There you go.
We'll have to take you on a wine tour one day.
Do you find your cherries yet?
No.
Shane? No, me
No.
neither.
No.
I'll
Yeah,
let
what
you
about-
know.
do you find any earth in there?
Yeah, maybe like dirt.
There's a bit of dirt on the floor. I can get.
Let's talk about some dirt. Max Verstappen, he got down and dirty on the weekend. He was having another terrific race, and I want us to all remember it has been a long time since Max Verstappen's been Max Verstappen like this. So let's give the man some credit. He has driven so beautifully for 4 years nearly. I mean, he had 21 was a really dicey year where we saw a little bit of this sort of behaviour. Don't know if we've seen it since then, have we? The Max Verstappen, I tell my mum this all the time because she's new to Formula 1, and she's like, oh, that Max Verstappen boy is a pretty good one. I said, you wait till he's under pressure. And then we see Max Verstappen. We saw that Max Verstappen on the weekend, I thought. We saw the old Max where the blood was running hot.
Frustration was there.
Frustration was there, and
Sometimes.
all warranted.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and we saw him lose his cool for the first time, I think, since 21. And that has been a long time of great racing. And he was setting himself up for a beautiful race where he was running the alternative strategy and he was giving it a good crack to the point where we're all wondering, is our man, Oscar,
It looked like
in some trouble?
It looked like it was coming off at one stage.
It
I
looked,
really
it
did.
looked
I
like it was
thought-
going to be close.
I thought, this is happening here?
Yeah, it looked
which
like it
I
was going to be
really
close.
pleased. I had two really good conversations with friends over the last 2 days about this on the Max topic. So it was the first net. What did you think of Max? They're very much like new fans, where they sort of see the last 3 or 4 years of Max and everything he does, and it's like, oh my god, what's he done? He's hit him on purpose and stuff.
And he's
right?
such a nice guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I shocked them by giving the different opinion on that, which is generally what I thought. That this is like, for me, when I look at that incident, we know he does this. This is his little thing. You have to give position packs, so he's really strategic on, I'll do it at a DRS zone. I'll get the activation point. I get the DRS boost. I'm going to shoot past you. I've ticked both boxes. Position back. I've handed it back to you. Play on. Which is what he does. No one else really does that. Lewis kind of tries and used to do it, but not so much these days. When I look at what happened on the weekend, I don't think he hit him on purpose.
Oh, well, I think
me.
I think he's actually come out and said, I did.
Okay. In the moment, I felt like he didn't hit him on purpose. That it was last lap.
I was unsure also.
Yeah, it was last lap. It was just that corner. It was the only chance he had to get that spot back. So it was just sort of, close to.
Yep.
And he was just like, stuff it. I've just, now's my opportunity. I can't wait, 4 or 5 laps and build it. So
I was a bit like you. I couldn't believe that he would do this.
Yeah.
But he did.
Yeah, he did. But you know what? I said to my two friends I was talking to, I said, if that kind of thing caused you such uproar, go back 10 years plus and watch what they used to do. Like Seb brake checking Lewis in Baku. You look like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then running into him.
That's right, and then running into him. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then you got Schumacher into Villeneuve. Was it 97 in Jerez or wherever it was? And then you got Senna and Prost, where it's just blatant, I know I'm going to win, so I'm going to put you in the wall. And that kind of stuff. And I said, watch that and then have a look at what Max does. And it's really not as bad as what it used to be. In this day and age, he's the only one that goes to the extremes. I don't know.
So the stewards got it right. Perfectly right.
I think they did in the end, yeah. But I'm not upset about it. And I don't look at it and just think you've been hyper aggressive. You're back to your old ways.
Shane?
Yeah, when you see the overhead, at one point you sort of say, well, hang on, George has turned in. But when you see the overhead, you actually see Schumacher accelerate. I'm not Schumacher. You talk about Schumacher.
Back in 1997.
Yeah, you see Max accelerate that little bit so he can bang him on the wheels.
Yeah.
So he didn't damage his car and not finish. So he's just sort of gone bang. So,
Yep. Sam?
The corner's slightly off camera on the inside run. So you'd have to really hook it in being Max to, avoid Russell. And the other thing is it such a Max move that he technically let him by? And I want the FIA definition of letting somebody have the position, because Russell did get in front. You saw the leaderboard change that Russell was in front. So therefore, could Max then have just accelerated and just gone for it and reclaim the position?
Yeah, I think that's
within the corner.
I think they have clarified that when Max and Hamilton were playing around with the rules on that. I think they did clarify that at the time, where you have to be clearly ahead, and then you're allowed to go for it. I don't think running what that was there, but yeah. So I mean, with all of that, I mean, you have to run the backstory for it too. I mean, for me, should he have been disqualified was the question that was running around. Should he have been disqualified?
No.
Not the black flag.
No way. No.
Shane?
No. It's a hard one in today's sport. I mean, as people are saying, it doesn't look good for young drivers.
Yeah.
But
it's touch and go. It's touch and go.
My argument to that
he deliberately crashed into another driver.
But my argument today is it's not a good look for young drivers coming through. We know that. But he doesn't go out on the weekend to look good for other people. He goes out to do his job, which is what he's paid to do, which is win. And that is what he does.
But that's got nothing to do with crashing into another driver.
No, but it also doesn't have anything to do that he doesn't go out and try and please people on the weekend. I better look good for people, or better look good for kids coming through. That's not his job, and you just got to like it.
To an element, it is.
It.
He's a Red Bull driver. Red Bull are running their image behind him. It's the same reason why, if he was on drugs, Red Bull would be really upset.
That's different though.
No, but that's where they're getting at with that.
But
it's about their image.
He's doing his job, and he is so good at doing his job. And I think we get caught up in it sometimes that he's the only one that does it. And it's not
name the last person that deliberately crashed into somebody else.
This weekend, I don't think this weekend was anywhere near as bad as what we've seen. You look Mexico the other year. That was probably his worst point for me, the Mexico moves. Yeah. That was extreme.
That was last year.
Yeah, that's extreme. That warrants a conversation of should we be disqualified. That's in that mix. This weekend, to come out and be like, no way. I think it was a bit of an overreaction. Silly move. Probably shouldn't have done it. Cost him in the end.
Hang on.
But
probably shouldn't have done it?
Yeah. But I mean, it's not as bad as what we've had him past.
Let's run the backstory. So he has tried to pull off the three-stopper.
Yep.
Things are going pretty well for him. The safety car comes out at the wrong time for him, which means everyone's changing tyres. Everyone's got a spare set of softs to chuck on, relatively new set. Max's only soft tyres are the ones that they run out to the grid. Now, I don't really understand this, but they don't like using those in races. For whatever reason, when you run these out to the grid, those tyres are cooked. I know they do a few installation laps.
Yeah.
That must be the reason. You heat them up and you cool them down, heat them up, cool them down, you get them all dirty.
Yeah.
That must be the reason. But that was the only set he had available because he ran the three-stop. He ran all these soft tyres already. He ran his set of mediums already. And so he didn't have anything. They decided, instead of leaving him out there with track position...
I was going to say, should they have pitted him?
But they left him out there. Instead of leaving him out there, they put a brand new set of hards on, and he lost it in the last corner. Yep. He lost the back end in the last corner because he didn't have the same sort of traction. Yep. We saw Leclerc come up beside him on the straight. They are coming... he's getting overtaken. They come together. I think it was proven that Leclerc probably did more of the swerving than Max did.
That was a question I was going to ask you. Like, do you think because I had a little bit of
I think it was a bit of a both. But
a sneaky turn.
Yeah. He was trying to get into the slipstream. Yep. Max was hoping to keep him out in the dirty part of the track. And so he's dirty at that. And then in that immediate next corner, he gets ran wide by Russell, who's trying to dive up the inside. Russell loses it slightly on the corner. Does bang wheels with Max. Max runs wide. The team, so they then go on for a lap or two. Yep. The team then don't back him. Max puts his side of the story across on the radio. Yep. The team don't back him. They say, Max, you need to get the position back, please. He said, why? And they said, and I love this call from them, Max, because it's the rules. Now, we can talk about that incident in a minute. Yep. But that's the lead up to it. So not only has he had two drivers crash into him, not only he's been put on the dodgy tyres after pulling off a really great race,
which he knew as soon as they're on. We all knew that's 3 or 4 spots back.
Not his fault. No one's fault.
Of course not.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. Fishtails it. Yeah, so he's got all of those things happening, and then his team doesn't back him, and that's where the rage kicks in, doesn't it? He's got to give his spot back to none other than the person he's had that the absolute feud with, George Russell. Mid handing back the place, he has a change of mind and decides to crash into him. It's like, I completely get it. I think the stewards got it completely right. I think a 10-second penalty, you know what? No, 10's not enough. Disqualification is too much. He should have got the equivalent of stop go.
You reckon?
Yep. He should have got.
Second?
What's that? I can't remember what they give that. Yeah, I think it might be a 30-second. So it should be equivalent of a stop-go penalty, I think, that they should have given him simply because he chose to crash into another driver.
10's right for me.
And I don't have a huge problem with 10.
Yep.
I don't think disqualification was on the cards because it wasn't like it was a reckless, I'm going to destroy the car.
God, no.
They kept on going. Yep. It's just something you're going to be trying to stamp out of it.
And you know what? There was probably 3 or 4 incidents throughout the course of the race of drivers that maybe were sitting in 14th, 15th, 16th that probably banged wheels and did the same thing in some sort of maneuver.
Yeah, but not when you're handing back a place.
But we don't really think anything of it, though. That's the thing. Like the max tax on top of that amplifies everything.
Oh, yeah, no, I think his was so obvious.
Some of the reaction, we apply that when we look at who it is.
I don't like that it's the same penalty as those who ran wide to gain advantage. I think that's less aggressive. I think that we've got to penalise that aggressive crashing into each other. But I wasn't horrified with what they decided on. It put him back to 10th. If it had have been a few more laps and he could have kept position, I would have been annoyed then, I think. I think that wouldn't have been just. But I think maybe they played with that a little bit. Let's go to... Does anyone else want to mention any of that? While we're in all of this land... Anyone got anything extra they want to mention about Leclerc overtaking him on the straight and touching Max? Was there a penalty worthy there?
I don't think it was a penalty worthy.
He left enough room on. There was still enough room for Max to move across.
There was enough room for both of them. It was a good racing incident, wasn't it?
Yeah, racing incident.
Let's go to George in the first corner. Yeah. George sees an opening. Good racing driver see an opening. They're going to go for it. Yep. He runs slightly wide. He loses a little bit of control, and I'm really important that it's a little bit of control. I don't think he lost complete control of that car, but he did slide enough that it did push Max, and Max runs wide. What should have been the ruling on that one? Racing incident, penalty for Max for gaining an advantage off track like his team thought it was going to be, or should have been a penalty for Russell?
Analyse the telemetry to see if he actually... Because if you didn't use any brake force whatsoever, that means that you're committed to going through the drive-through like some probably did on the first lap. But if the telemetry showed that he was actually forced in that position, he tried to brake to actually steady himself, and then the natural course is you just go through the barricades as the FIA mandates, then no penalty needed. Because if the FIA have those rules and he's followed them...
It doesn't quite work that way.
Yeah.
Because if he does it to gain advantage, they don't let him off.
Yeah, but if the telemetry shows that he was somewhat forced
He was
into that
forced,
situation,
yeah.
then he ran it, and that's it. That's fine.
Shane?
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree with Sam there.
Racing incident, play on, which is what the FIA... I love that the FIA came out and didn't need to rule on this one, but they came out and ruled on this one as part of the max penalty, just so everyone knows we wouldn't have given a penalty for this, Red Bull. Thoughts on the Russell... Max in the first corner?
Probably could have gone both ways, I reckon.
Well, there's 3 ways.
Yeah.
Could have been play on, penalty Max, penalty Russell.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this incident.
I just think, and any of those decisions probably were correct.
It's
for
a
me.
weird, it's a weird thing to
it's
say.
Weird.
Yeah.
Like I don't think George was. I think a little part of me thinks he was a little bit lucky. That he probably deserves, he could have got a penalty for that, and I would have been okay with it. But then I'm also okay with it not being a penalty too.
Yeah.
So
I'm with the boys. It's a racing incident, and you're telling me it's a racing incident by that.
Kind of by that,
like George doesn't lose it enough to be complete at fault. You can't expect someone to run around a corner without any little corrections.
Yeah.
If that means that you're running into somebody, you're running into somebody. But it was such a slight touch, and I think Max was probably within his rights to run wide there.
Yeah.
Yep. I like that. I love, though, that his team thought he would have to give the place back. I find that just so ironic in all of this.
But isn't that a great example of Red Bull? Remember the other week where Charles was told to give a place back?
Yep.
And I very much thought, you've done nothing wrong there. You shouldn't be doing that. That's a great example.
You told us that Red Bull would never do that.
That's right. But it's a great example of Red Bull when they know that this is what you should be doing. Like they said on radio, it's the rules. They're fully aware of what's right and what's wrong on track. And so they are implying that to their driver and saying, no, we know you've done the wrong thing. You've got to do that. You've got to hand it back. But it's a great example of where Red Bull is so good at that. Like they do. They back their driver and go, no, you know what? You've done nothing wrong there. We're going to roll the dice here. Whereas Ferrari, a couple of weeks ago, panic stations and did something they shouldn't.
But they didn't back their driver.
No, they didn't back their... And they should have. And that's what Red Bull do. So anyway,
Yeah.
Good comparison between the two in a similar situation there. How teams are aware of what's right and what's wrong.
No, it's not a good comparison
No, it
because
isn't.
they got it wrong.
No,
and they did exactly what Ferrari did.
Yeah, but they backed it. They knew the rules, whereas Ferrari told Charles, said, give it back. And Charles didn't have to give it back.
I think they've just proven that they didn't know the rules and they got it wrong.
No,
I don't know. Like in the parallel universe, like if you did give it back properly and everything like that, and then Max retook it.
Max wasn't really taking anything with those tyres, though, was he?
But,
no.
But like per se, that would the FI have just like retrospectively said, nah, you actually, and they look through the telemetry.
It was easy for them to say we wouldn't have given a penalty after the fact. Is that what you're suggesting?
Exactly. Like,
yeah, bunch of wusses.
Conspiracy. No, sorry. Like as is what it is, and like if the FIA want to say that we weren't going to give the penalty, okay, they can say whether they won the official press release. But in the parallel universe, would the press release have said we were like he actually did gain an advantage, therefore we are going to mandate a 10-second? That would have been interesting.
It was a fascinating series of events. That whole lap and then the laps after it. It was just, I found it just fascinating. I thought it was a really interesting way to finish a race when Oscar was safe and sound. I would have been fuming if it was all happening. The other thing to be fuming about, while we're covering these guys, we shouldn't be at Max yet because Max has actually come home 10th. The drivers getting in the way, the lap drivers getting in the way of Max and Russell. Was it Max and Russell or Max and...
Yeah.
No, it was Max and Lando.
Max and Lando. Yeah, that's right. Max was closing the gap on Lando. But the Oscar we knew was happening because we're seeing it in the timing. But Lando and Max getting caught up with it while they were pretty much at fighting point for second position. They got caught out big time, and I thought they got lucky to get away with what they got away with because they were sort of fighting out for their own positions. But anyway, let's go to Leclerc because he's the man we should be talking about next because he came home third. He sort of picked up the pieces, didn't he? He did what George Russell usually does. Picks up the pieces, was there when it was required, and picked up some big points for Ferrari. Have they turned it around yet?
A little bit. They've sort of swapped again with Mercedes. Mercedes and George were coming home third.
Yep.
And they just got that better car just after I traded them in the F1 fantasy, and that's killed me.
Is Ferrari back, Tristan?
Nah, not yet for me. I'll just sit on.
We were sitting.
I'm still sitting.
And we said when you weren't here after Monaco, but we did say Monaco wasn't going to tell us anything, but Spain might.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Not quite. I think. Yeah, I don't know. Mercedes looked poor in practice, but then got it together in quali a little bit. And then having a bit of trouble heating up those hard tyres as well. I feel like Mercedes have just had 2 bad weekends.
Mercedes doesn't like hot races.
They don't. They don't. You're right. So I just think Merc have had a couple of bad weekends.
I think they're back in the hunt.
I think so too.
Ferrari's back in the hunt.
They're not a clear third.
They're definitely not a clear third. They're not a clear second. Who's clear second then?
Max in the Red Bull is a clear second. He is a clear second, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Team Max.
Team Max.
Yeah.
Team Max.
They might as well just get rid of
Did
it.
you know, what was I looking at? I was looking at the constructors' standings the other day. Was it Monday? Yesterday. And it's like Max has scored nearly all the constructors. Max was a constructor himself, which he pretty much is.
Yes, yeah. He should be. Yeah.
He'd be fourth, which is just phenomenal. They're not back. I'm still going to sit on it. Like I said, 5 weeks, like I usually like to say. Yeah. And look, at what point do they say no thanks to the season? Like, I think
for what?
Just for Ferrari, just in general. They're still a long way back. They really are.
I think probably
they really are.
I think there's probably most teams are now not developing new.
Yep.
I think they're developing what they've got.
Yep.
Developing what's in the works already.
Yep.
But I don't think anyone's coming up with anything new.
I think they're the team that'll benefit the most of pulling the pin on the year early, just because of how high they are in the stand. Like for a third or fourth-ish team to pull the pin on the season like this year and go, nah, you know what, that's it. That's where we are. We've started poorly. It's not come together. They will gain the most next year, whereas you've got Max and the McLarens who'll still be pushing hard for this year because there's a world title for drivers up for grabs.
I think we'll see one more set of updates. Yep. Maybe some things that are a bit delayed. But yeah.
I just think that the horse has bolted, like I said, on the start of the season for them. They might pick up a win. I don't know. I can't see them picking up a win, to be honest, unless it's Monza. We mentioned that a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know. We'll see. Lewis is struggling.
Is he?
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when someone sent me a message before saying it's cold outside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Lewis is struggling, isn't he?
Working.
Let's go to Lewis.
Yep.
Come on, let's go to Lewis.
It's not working.
Thoughts? Is Lewis at the point where Seb was, where Dan was?
No.
Lewis can't explain. Lewis can't explain why he's slow. That is, who's the last person that couldn't explain why he's slow? Dan.
Oh.
Who's the person? No, Yuki was never fast. You got to have some pace to become slow. Who was the person before that? Seb. I think I'm now just starting to wonder: has Hamilton hit that point where he can't quite understand why he isn't getting what he's getting? He's really short with his interviews. I wonder whether it might be time.
I don't know. Look, race pace. He was a 0.3 of a second slower than Leclerc on race pace for the series. For the race itself. So
he was about 10 seconds behind him when the safety car came out.
Yeah.
But I think Leclerc would have moved further forward because of the tyres that wouldn't have gone off.
Well, Hadjar was the next best after Lewis, so that's sort of, even Yuki on the 5 sets of tyres was still up there in genuine race pace itself, just on the data alone. But yeah,
tell me again, who was the second fastest car, lads?
On race pace?
No, who currently tell me who's the second best car of the championship?
Max's.
No, in terms of constructors.
Ferrari.
Ferrari's second in the championship.
Second in the championship, yeah.
And you're telling them to throw away the season?
I'm just saying.
Before Mercedes.
Yeah,
how
just
many
for
points?
a top team.
I had no idea. I was like, let's see how far off they are.
Yeah, no,
they're second in the championship. They're a long, long way behind McLaren. Everyone's a long way behind McLaren, but they're 6 points ahead of Mercedes. And
Antonelli blew an engine.
Yeah,
I'm just putting a small asterisk.
No. But what I'm saying is, like, there is something to play for them, isn't there? Like, it's big. There's still big money. I know it's Ferrari; they don't necessarily need all that money, but there's still big money at play.
Oh, of course there is. Yeah.
Hamilton's in an interesting spot.
Yep.
When he gets real short with reporters, and they try and do the whole I really feel for you, and he gets snooty at that. You know things aren't going well for him.
And he didn't handle George that well in 3 years there. So I mean,
No, it's not a sudden decline, is it?
I still think it was a silly move by Ferrari. I would have stayed with.
Clearly, yeah.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, though.
I don't think you needed hindsight, but
Yeah,
the
well,
emotion of it, a 7-time world champion, obviously.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be proved to be one of, well, it's looking like it's going to be proved to one of those Ferrari decisions that Ferrari are too arrogant to not make.
It might have boosted Charles though, like we talked about when the move was first made. That he's like, oh.
Do you think you've seen a boost in Charles this year?
Yeah, little.
I think he's
Little, not a lot, but a little.
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know, he's had a bit of consistency maybe.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to tell with that car.
That's true.
Russell was nearly doing Russell things where he was picking up the rest of the points.
Did nothing finish third?
Yeah. Qualified okay.
Yep.
That was about it, wasn't it, for Russell?
Yep.
Anyone want to mention anything about Russell?
He did seem to be actually closing Leclerc down towards the end.
Yes, he did actually.
Yep. Obviously.
Yeah, and Norris, I think, actually. I think he was the fastest on track there for a little while, which is interesting. Interesting that the Mercedes was happy with that point. Typically, across the years, they've hated hot tracks, haven't they? And so,
absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't know that this was necessarily all of that. And then we saw Antonelli with an engine failure right at the right time, where the race needed spicing up. Right at the wrong time when Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris fans, or maybe Lando Norris fans have been keen for it. But yeah, it was Antonelli. He's had a pretty decent season, but he's had a few little things like this that's just sort of probably not going to show where he's actually been for this season so far. Dropping a few points here and there.
This is an accurate reflection of where he is now as a rookie.
What, that engine failure?
No, I'm just saying, like his recent results. Like this is what
on and off.
On and off.
Yes,
this
yeah.
First quarter.
Yeah,
of the
that's
season.
sort of what I'm getting at. Like,
brilliant.
His goods aren't necessarily reflected in his points.
No,
because he's had a few of these bits and pieces. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It's certainly not on him, that one. Now we're going to get to the man of the hour, Hulkenberg, Nico Hulkenberg. How wonderful, eh?
How good
so far.
They have had a phenomenal fortnight as a team. For the first time, they look like they've done something. Because for years, they've just been sitting there.
Yeah, I
brilliant.
Agree. Yeah.
Bortoleto qualified 12th. Tick for that. Very unlucky not to be in Q3, I felt.
Yep.
He's stepped up. The team stepped up. It's almost the first signs of we're ready for the Audi transition.
It wasn't what we were expecting.
No. God, no. If you're a betting man and you had money on Hulkenberg for 5th, what island would you like to buy? Brilliant. Like, so good.
Sandman?
Because I thought seriously before the race was run that our only mention of Sauber was going to be, hey, they brought out a new livery, Roger. What do you think about the livery?
Boring.
So good.
Boring.
So good.
Well, there we go.
Tick.
See,
brilliant.
There's my man,
Boo.
back on the liveries.
Brilliant. Last two
There's
have been
you,
brilliant.
as
Nothing
always.
special about a special livery.
So I seriously thought that was going to be the only thing, but then he just pulls it straight out of nowhere. Was it upgrade packages? Was it just set up his experience around Spain? Did the safety car play into it?
Well,
I don't know. He was still going to be about 7th or 8th before
He made
that
5
safety
spots
car.
in the first lap.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it wasn't due to qualifying.
No, 15th.
Yeah, 16th, qualified 16th. I mean, Bortoleto was 12th, so there was obviously some speed in the car.
Something
Bortoleto
there.
has actually qualified quite well this year
qualified
compared to
well.
Hulkenberg.
Absolutely, he has.
Which
But Hulk
Hulkenberg
just had
over
a
his
blinder.
career has been, pretty great
Absolutely.
at qualifying and falling
Absolutely.
away in the race. But there's sort of a bit of a flip there.
It's the first step into the Audi transition for me. I'm going, okay, we're ready to start.
For me, it's amazing what happens when you put a good leader in front of a team.
Oh,
Yes.
Look at Williams, James Vowles. Look at now Sauber. They've gone to Mario Briatore.
Mattia Bonotto.
Mattia Bonotto.
Mario Andretti.
Mario
Briatore.
You're thinking about Ariba Benny.
You've mushed about 8 people together there. And invented your own bus.
But yeah, it's amazing though. Like, we've been calling out when he was on his gardening leave, we were calling out, right, a team has to pick him up because he is no slob. I mean, he got caught up in Ferrari politics, and I still think they should have held on to him. With Fred, and anything could have been possible, but I can understand that he didn't want to hang around for that. For me, it was just like, you put a good leader in front of that team, and we've seen, as James Vowles said, there was low-hanging fruit improvements that could be made without huge investment. and he's just cleaned up a few of those areas, and we've seen some decent results with him involved in that team for half a season now.
I hope it continues for a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not sitting here jumping up and down going,
No.
this game. I hope I get...
No, we're getting a different track next race.
Yeah,
so
I'd like another couple of weeks.
I wouldn't expect we'll see him there again next race.
No.
You never know. But it was impressive. We've always got Hadjar in amongst the points now.
I was about to say there's just a little side fact. Nico Hulkenberg has now scored more points than both of the Red Bull second drivers combined.
Oh, there you go.
That was just this weekend, wasn't it? Something like this weekend.
Yeah, that's not exactly working on
sprint.
points, though, is it? But, huge points for him and big for the team. It's something like $20 million for the team at the moment.
Huge.
Isaac Hadjar, same old for him at the moment.
Yep.
Great.
Getting that job done so beautifully. I love that he's becoming a bit of a celebrity.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Who's the guy out of Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Terry, whatever his name
Terry
is.
Crews.
Terry Crews.
Yeah, he wanted photos with him.
Yep.
And I love that. And he's turning himself into a bit of a celebrity at the moment. The little Frenchman. He's doing beautifully. Pierre Gasly picked up some decent points with 8th.
Looked on it at one stage. Really looked on it.
But also looked like he was going to be done by his teammate at one stage.
Absolutely, yeah.
Colapinto was actually looking like he was going to have a weekend, and then he didn't, unfortunately. But anyone? Who else do we want to mention? Alonso.
Fernando's
Ninth.
points.
2 points for Fernando.
The unluckiest man has got lucky.
Back.
He's broken the drought.
He's back. All retirement plans are off. I said to you when I arrived, Oscar needs to be careful.
He still had a stinker. For a race, he still had a messy race. He was in the gravel at one point.
And still scored points.
That was my question. I didn't follow his race closely enough. What could he have done? Stop chewing peanuts in the microphones.
I'm not.
What could he have... Oh, it was you. Your mouth is moving.
Yeah, I'm talking.
My apologies. What could he have done without hanging out in the gravel for a bit?
Maybe an extra point there on the way, but...
I'm really...
Some of it was
Outstanding.
because of his tyres compared to the others' tyres after the safety car, because he was still back in 12th or 13th.
Oh, when he started, so he picked up a bunch of spots, did he?
After the safety car,
yeah,
he was
right.
12th or 13th, and then he was on good tyres, the others weren't.
And so he got a bunch of jobs done.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I was too busy looking at everything else after that safety car. I missed that one. We actually saw Verstappen in 10th, but we've talked about him. Anyone else?
I thought Lawson was sort of... Some of his moves were a bit of Kevin Magnussen-esque.
He's showing
on the way.
He is very Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah, a bit of Miami Kevin Magnussen-esque. Not as aggressive, not as... it was messy. He was having a go. None of it was coming off. I think if he had started banging wheels and colliding and putting people off the road left, right and centre, then I think we'd be having a very different conversation about him. But
he did bang some wheels.
I think one contact
Lawson?
maybe.
Yeah, Lawson. Yeah, Lawson did, yeah,
but
definitely.
I was kind of caught in two minds. I thought, good on you for having a go. It's nice to see you putting yourself out there with that, but it was messy. And then, as I said, my first thought was Magnussen Miami. I was like, ugh, this is messy. I want to mention Colapinto, fellas.
Go on.
Because we're in this sort of 3-race run. I just want to compare it to Jack Doohan because we compared Yuki, we've compared Lawson. I want to compare these two. So
quickly before you do, Yuki pass or fail this one?
No, fail.
Fail.
I told you I'd be on it.
Thank you.
No, fail. No good. Right, so this is Jack's. So the next two for me, we're going to have a think about whether or not this move is working. For me, it's not. We're not getting an extra out of Franco as what we were with Jack. So Jack's 3-point scoring race is his first. So obviously retired in Australia, but then so do 95% of the people who turned up.
Mm-hmm.
China 13th, Japan 15th, Bahrain 14th.
Mm-hmm.
That's his first three. Colapinto's first three.
I feel like I need to write those down.
Yep, 16, 13, 15. So on average, I guess lower.
2 points lower.
Yep. So I guess just yes or no, is he getting the job done? Is he a better replacement?
He is a much better replacement.
Really?
If you listen to the team, they are telling you that they're in it together. They're telling you that we're going to learn together, we're going to develop together. All the things that they refuse to give to the driver they signed first.
What are we getting out?
Does my head in?
What are we getting out of him that we weren't getting out of Jack? Like in all honesty, when you look
does
at
my
Not
head in?
getting murdered by
we were
that's
practice sessions were 20th and last. Like, I came for Lawson.
Like last a lot.
Yep, and last, and I came for Lawson with last. So I've got to do the same.
We'll give him a little break after this one. He's 15th today at this race. Wasn't due to
due to racecraft.
he didn't move through the field like he could have, considering where we're looking at Gasly, and it was open to overtaking this time around.
2 DNFs in front of him.
We saw his qualifying. He broke down in qualifying, and so that part wasn't on him. And he was looking on it. Yep. He was looking really good at that point. I don't know if he had that extra step to make like Gasly did in the end, but he was looking on it. But yeah, it's for me, it just does my head in that the team has changed their messaging so much. They just could not back Jack at all, and all they've done is back this kid.
So like you had Jack, and they had the DRS issue, which comes out that simulator work and uneducated around where that needs to happen in real life. And we got nothing out of that when he's having his issues. And then we've had Franco, DNFs in qualifying. And then we instantly get a social media post. Hey, this is what happened. This is why he's out. I think, where was that for Jack? Where you said, where was that backing? Like, it's not there. So
the amount of pictures I'm seeing of them walking side by side, we're unity. And I've never been an internet troll, but I make sure I get on there every time. I said,
I've noticed.
It's not. Have you?
I've noticed.
I wonder if
every time I go on and have a look, anyone that you are friends with, it's just
Adam Hughes is always with me. He's like, give me a little tick. I was like,
there he is.
And I'm trying my hardest not to be insulting or anything like that. I just want to point out to them, like, stop running out this crap where you're pretending to be united as a team, because you weren't. Anyway,
I'm going to mention it over the next couple of weeks. Like I said,
it's a watch.
Came for Lawson, came for all them. It's one in all in here.
Yeah, we'll take down anyone.
Do we go back to Yuki? And is he going to last the season in that seat?
Yeah.
They have said it.
What do you do?
I don't know.
Like, you bring in Hadjar, you completely ruin his career. You bring in Lawson. Lawson actually has half decent form in the V carb.
Sorry?
I think
Where?
that half decent.
Where?
When?
Give us the time.
He's picked up his pace.
Yeah, he's picked up his pace.
He's picked up his pace.
It's easy to pick your pace up when you're last.
Last 2 points finishers.
Yeah, he's not last. That's better than what he was
I don't
doing
think he was
in
a
Red Bull.
points finisher here, was he?
No, but he's not dead last like he was in Australia.
Yeah, but that's not a pass.
He hasn't picked up
right.
His
But all I'm saying is that so you swap Yuki back into the V carb, shows no confidence whatsoever. I think Yuki has to finish out the year and go down with the ship.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That is my only.
They've also only allowed to run 4 drivers in a car.
Yes, you're limited to that. So,
and so for me, it's like what are they going to do? For my big watch at the moment. So we're going down conspiracy theories. We've still got someone else to mention, but we're going down conspiracy theories. The realisation that Max may leave this team soon is getting real. For the first time ever, the team didn't back him in the in the race. You never see that. They're always so biased that they don't back him. Christian didn't back him. Christian never not backs Max. It's so annoying. Do you know who else didn't back him this weekend?
Who didn't back him?
Helmut Marko.
Oh, okay.
Actually said that was very unusual. He shouldn't have done it. He cost the team points. The realisation that Max may not be in this team anymore, and they have setting up a car for this driver that no one else can drive. They could be at the back of the pack if Max leaves.
Maybe.
They could
They
be,
will be, won't they?
They could be along the cellar dwellers of Formula One. Absolutely. If Max leaves this team, they've got to make some changes. I mean, surely Max can drive a car. I mean, I don't know. He's won World Championships. They've won World Championships with him. It's such a double-edged sword, isn't it? But they've got to start thinking about how can they support this second driver even stronger. I love the boy with his hand up.
I don't even think they're gonna. I think eggs are all in on how do we keep Max.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. But the realisation, they're going to have to. They could be at the back of the pack and losing money on money.
Do you think he'll go? Just in all honesty, do you really think Max will go?
Yes, not necessarily next year.
Yeah.
But I can absolutely guarantee you his head is being turned at this moment.
How would George go in a second Red Bull?
Well, you wouldn't know.
No.
They'd have to change it. I mean, maybe you could. I don't know.
Sam's bursting.
Go on.
So, after you had that little throwaway comment in the last episode about how Pepsi is officially signed on to be a sponsor of Formula One, they filmed and released an ad where there was a Formula One car driving around and they had a particular helmet and they zoomed into the visor and whose face was behind the visor.
Was it proven to be him?
I don't know, but as soon as you said that, and any good conspiracy theorist will find as much evidence as they can to support their conspiracy theory. If we're going full tilt on conspiracy,
Jeez, it looked like him. Jeez, it looked like him.
But could it be? But he does actually have shares with Pepsi to sponsor his NFL team and his linebacker or whatever it is. Is it just because he's doing so much sponsorship work with Pepsi, or could we be seeing something for next year?
For who?
Daniel Ricciardo comes back to Red Bull. Or conspiracy?
I think if he's coming back for anyone, it's Cadillac. But I refuse to get myself interested in this. Mind you, it could happen.
It could. Conspiracies.
So no, it's an interesting watch. It's an interesting watch at the moment. They're going to stick with Yuki. They've got no other options.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. They really want to get their F2 driver into a seat, but he certainly doesn't have super license points yet. Maybe by mid-season he might, I believe. So
Iwasa.
Yeah. So Lawson could be in some trouble then.
Maybe.
But they're going to stick with Yuki in the meantime. I don't know. I sort of expect him to come slightly good, but he certainly ain't making a hurry of it. Stroll's the last one I want to talk about. Now, we can't talk about him as part of the race rundown. Do we have to talk about him later? Do we have to do it as part of a news segment because he's not a race car driver at the moment? Let's get him out of the way.
Was he? Oh, I didn't know he wasn't.
Wow.
So we saw Stroll
Yep.
in practices, and then after FP3, I think it was, did he qualify?
He went into qualifying. That's where some of the news broke.
He went into qualifying
and went out in Q2.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And it wasn't where all the news broke, because things were breaking in the pits. So, by all reports, he threw a tantrum afterwards, after getting kicked out, and broke things in the garage, swore at team members and staff.
Refused to go to the weigh station as per protocol.
Yep, refused to go to the weigh station, and then turns out that he's now got an injured wrist. There is no one buying that wrist has been like that for 2 years, and all of a sudden it's come to a point. He's punched something clearly. He's broken his wrist clearly, and now he's out for a bit clearly.
See, it seems I didn't read that until you mentioned it. Like, you were the news source that sort of brought it to my attention. I was like, there you go.
I mean, and it wasn't like this wasn't coming from tiny little news agencies.
No.
This is BBC.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was, and it's been talked about since. Obviously, the team's gone into their we don't talk about these sorts of things mode.
They don't want to get fired.
And we look forward to having him back in Canada. And the next race is the Canadian Grand Prix, which is his home race. So yeah, it's just it's an interesting watch. My question for you guys?
Yeah.
Should Formula One and the FIA get involved if he's throwing those sorts of tantrums? And
Well, he had that issue with his
Brad.
trainer.
Brad, the personal trainer, Qatar.
Yep. Should they be getting involved and saying, look, this isn't what we stand for? If they're cracking it with swearing on the telecast, should violence be something that's been looked at?
If we were sitting here today and we were reading a Max Verstappen injured his hand over throwing a tantrum, we'd be calling for that too. So, yeah, in all honesty, I actually think so. If we're going to step in and we want language better, we want better images for our drivers, and we're setting the standard for kids, like we talk about with Max, then it's got to be applied to everyone. Everyone up and down the field.
Yep.
You don't get a free part. If this was Max, we'd be losing our minds over it.
Max Verstappen shunting Ocon in the garage after 2019 Brazil when they collided on the very few last laps. Shunted him. There was a major FIA investigation.
Absolutely.
Whole song and dance, community service, everything like that. So they threw the absolute book.
Well, they didn't really throw the book at him.
No.
Well, it's not like we
They gave him a reprimand.
Yeah, reprimand. But they said that because it was all on the broadcast, everything like that, it's representing our sport poorly. That they went for him. Yet we're going to excuse someone.
I think because it didn't necessarily happen within view. My question is, the FAA, should they be investigating now? I think they should be having a little look at it.
Probably needs someone from the team to speak up. Like, we have unions, we have those sort of things.
But then it's hard when you're the son or the dad who's the boss who owns a team.
Yeah.
Which is a tricky situation for anyone working at Aston, especially those who are on the other end of that too.
I mean,
report was it was a 6-week injury. That was the first initial report, that this was like he'd been injured for 6 weeks, he'd been dealing with a niggle. So, yeah.
Yeah. Moving forward, I mean, from that perpetual brat, moving forward from there, who's driving for him. So Drugovich and Van Dorm are due to go to Le Mans. Drugovich has already said, hey,
right.
no, Le Mans doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
How'd you feel about that, Tristan? You're a Le Mans fan.
I am a Le Mans fan.
Do you think he should have stuck to Le Mans, or should he go to the Canadian Grand Prix potentially?
If the opportunity to be a Formula One driver even for the weekend is there, and then if you look at, like Cadillac and that coming in, like you put yourself out there. If that's what you want to do, as much as you love Le Mans, and I would, you'd go every time.
Yep.
But yeah, it's an advertisement for anyone. There's lots of seats available next year, and this man's been sitting in the wings for a long time. And then Van Dorn's also, like you said, going to WEC as well for Le Mans. But then there's another, I can't remember who their third one is in the wing.
Jack Crawford, F2
so Jack Crawford,
driver.
But he doesn't have enough super license.
Yeah, so
I read that correctly?
the next point of call would be Bottas, because he's a Mercedes engine
absolutely
related. So
they could, if these two boys decide to go to Le Mans, which I don't.
Well,
think.
Drugovich has already said, no, I'm not going.
But
yeah.
if they did, then
If he needed to.
they think, geez, who are we going to grab here?
He's going to have to make his mind up, though, because I think Le Mans, I was reading, has a really important test day
Yes, they do.
next
yes.
weekend.
Yep, so you've got to be there for that.
Yeah, you can't not do that. So he's going to have to make his mind up. And so it's that double-edged sword. Do I do this? Do I do that? Yeah. I mean,
do it just in case.
Am I right in thinking that he's a good chance to win at Le Mans, or he's one of the favourites? Is that right?
He'll be in one of the faster cars. Yep.
You could almost bring back how are they sleeping, Rog?
Good idea, Shane. Good idea, Shane.
Don't do it, Shane.
If Drugovich gets that seat, how is Fernando Alonso sleeping?
Probably perfectly fine.
Obviously, Lance has held him up all year so far. And now they get an even better driver in. How will Fernando
I can't think of Fernando being anything but a caravan park owner after your last segment. Well, that's true. Would he be worried? I don't think those sorts of things... Wouldn't surprise me, though.
Couldn't you have a less worried man on the grid?
I reckon Fernando Alonso's the sort of guy that would just sneak into Drugovich's motorhome and stand over him and just wait for him to wake up. And Drugovich would be wake up. What? He goes, you do not drive faster than me. And then walks out. That's the sort of thing. Oh, good segment. Excellent, Shane. Let's go to 3, 2, and 1. Thank you to All Signs. 3, 2, and 1. All Signs. Who are your driver rankings for this weekend? Can we all just say Hulkenberg got 3 points from all of us?
Hulkenberg, 3 points.
Is there anyone who's going to disagree with that? All right. Are you recording these, or do I have to be recording these?
No, I record them. Put them into the People's Championship.
Good. I like it. You go from there, Tristan.
I'm actually going to give Bortoleto 2. Just based on quality and genuine form. Like, I'm all over Sauber this week. I'm fangirling over Sauber. And then...
You can be a fanboy. You don't have to be a girl. But
yeah,
you be a girl if you like to be. I don't have a problem with it.
Thank you. And I'm going to go... Oh, jeez. I want to say Max just to annoy you, but it has to be Oscar.
Oh, I thought you were going to give it to Alonso.
Really, Max? Yeah, no, I can't. I'm just I'm living my happy life with him again. We're back. I said Oscar's... How are they sleeping? Oscar's...
He's sleeping very happily.
He's not. He's going, there's a Spaniard chasing me down.
Science ain't that close, is he?
He's not sleeping well.
Actually, Science didn't have a great
Don't worry
weekend, did he?
No, we didn't talk about Williams.
No, we didn't talk about Williams. We won't talk about him this
they didn't do
weekend.
anything. They didn't do anything.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's not. They suck.
So, what'd you go with? You went with Bortoleto for 2 and Piastri for 1.
And Oscar for 1.
Shane?
Hadjar for 2.
Hadjar for 2.
And Oscar for 1.
Hadjar might win this, And who? Oscar for 1. Yep. Sam?
Hadjar 2. Alonso 1.
Ooh. How much did he pay you? You must have paid
The man got points
Just
in his home race after an abysmal year.
And an abysmal race. That's the thing. I find it just baffling.
He's on the board now.
It's such an Alonso race at the moment, isn't it?
And he cut Oscar's championship lead by 2 points.
What do you mean?
Because he scored 2 points and then he's cut. He's cut the lead to him.
To him.
He's going after the drivers.
I thought you were talking about the top.
So the other 25 points that Oscar didn't
Doesn't matter.
reduce it at all.
It's factually correct in my mind.
That's all. That's the
all
only place that matters.
All that matters.
Only until he's ruled out of the drivers' championship will he lose.
He's mathematically in it.
I'm going to go with 2 points for Leclerc. I'm going to go 1 point for Bortoleto. I liked Bortoleto's race as well. I thought he did well.
Yeah.
For a rookie, he's getting not the recognition he necessarily deserves because of that car, but yeah, I think he's probably performing quite well. Done of the day.
Done of the day.
Let me open my phone. I've got a couple.
Are you going to go?
No, I've got a couple, so you can go.
Okay, I'm just going to... honourable mention to Williams because I didn't do anything this weekend, so tick. I just want to get that in there.
That's fine.
It has to be Rosberg for me this weekend, which I quite like. Sometimes I like what he does, but far out.
He's so annoying.
You know when you see a 5-year-old and they've had too much sugar? That's what it felt like on the weekend with Nico. He was shouting at people.
He was erratic.
He was aggressive. He was erratic. Oh, it's just like, I was like... Oh,
Refused to hear any data.
I was overstimulated listening to him. I was thinking, Jesus Christ, calm down. He made a couple of good points, but far out. He was off his head on the weekend. And it was really unpalatable. I found it really difficult to listen to him, want to listen to him. And I found it was hard to track what he was saying and what he was on about. He was all over the shop. So, no, it was not his finest. Not that there've been a lot. Commentary hours for Nico. But, poor. Oh, not good. Not good.
No, he was horrible.
No,
he's definitely not a race commentator.
No.
I don't even like him for special comments, so no.
Yeah, no, it was poor, but they're mine too.
Damn it, stolen.
Yeah.
Stolen Shane.
Well,
Look
it's
at
one of my two.
I got another one.
Oh, well, yeah, and that one, just when I turned the telecast on and heard him, I was like, no, please not as a commentator. And then, the whole race, and then I tried to watch something after work tonight, one of their replay shows, and it was him. It was like,
what about Valsman referred to him as just Rosberg, and he was questioning him. That got super aggressive and unnecessary. Oh,
it's just an annoying voice.
What are we doing?
So again, what happened?
James Vowles referred to him as just Rosberg when he was talking to him on the telecast because he started questioning what Williams was doing.
Oh.
And it got really heated.
I need to see
really
this.
aggressive.
I need to see this because
And
I'm
I
a
was
big James Vowles fan. You know that.
I know you are. There's a little bit of personal history going on here. This is not happening. It was. And then he really upset the other Sky presenters when he was questioning McLaren. I didn't mind his question of McLaren. And
I don't mind if you've got something
topic was
outside
good.
of running just an opinion. He just tries to run an opinion,
and it's
no matter
always
what.
negative. It's very much like Villeneuve, like this person sucks. This
well,
team's
which would you
no
like
good.
rather? Shane asked me that.
Well, I mean, geez,
yesterday.
I would like what would I like?
Villeneuve or Rosberg.
I'd probably prefer Villeneuve's opinion, but I'd like him to dress a little bit nicer, like Nico does, and put him together.
And not to have an
He
accent
does dress.
change
I
every
agree.
5 seconds.
No, like
Nico
I said,
dresses. It's a bit casual. It's very linen, isn't it?
Villeneuve, I dress better when I mow my lawn on a Sunday than what Villeneuve does.
Yep.
I can assure you that.
Did you give us a dud in the end?
The other one, which I've harped on.
We got Tristan going again.
Sorry. Well, I've harped on all year is that driver of the day.
Oh,
yeah. They need to not open it until the race finishes. They've still got 10 minutes before.
Couldn't agree more.
Because
I used to try and pretend like it was something worth telling the driver as they're finishing their last.
That's right.
You're the driver of the day.
You're the driver of the day, but they don't even bother with that anymore because it doesn't mean anything. No, it's a good call. You're consistent on it. It's a good call. Well, who's your dud of the day, Sam?
Originally gave it to Aston, but after all the news that's sort of come out and why they couldn't put Dragovic into the second car, I sort of have to sideline that. But Brittany Rosberg and driver of the day, and the greatest thing and sneaky hero of the hour because of this, Paige for messaging me effing Rosberg's on the telecast.
Yes.
While I was at work, so I was still
Paige.
doing night shift, so I'm just like, I don't even have to bother opening up a laptop and having this playing in the background between patients. I can just set and forget because Rosberg's going to chew my ear off and just send me, as a shift worker, up to 11 out of 10 stress.
Yeah.
Good, Paige. I like this. Mine's Max. I'm going back to Max, not for all of the bits and pieces on track.
Okay.
I understand all that. He's a race driver. He's supposed to do those sorts of things. I'm sick to death of Max sooking it up whenever he doesn't want to explain himself. He goes to the excuse of, well, you can't have a contrary opinion or you can't speak your mind, so there's no point in me saying anything. And so he just gets out of explaining himself whenever he's done something wrong, every time with that same line. It just does my head in. The reporters will go to him and ask him, and then he says, it doesn't matter anyway, we can't be critical of anything. It baffles me that he gets away with that. But of course he does, because he's actually saying something. That's what he's saying. But he doesn't have to say anything. He just uses the FIA being too strict as an excuse to explain his crap. So for me, Max, you're getting it. I'm seeing through you. Got to get up pretty early in the morning, Tristan, to get one past me. Any other hero of the hours?
I got one.
Yeah.
Sort of like Tristan with the Mercedes cooler jackets in China,
Yep.
where they were dud that wrapped into a hero.
Yep.
Liam Lawson for me. Because I'm not sure if you...
Dud wrapped into a hero?
Dud wrapped into a hero.
No.
Because of the song that's online, I'm Liam Lawson. A whole lot of swearing, sounds like thrash metal. But throughout the entire race, watching Liam Lawson carve through the field and like bash and crash and everything like
Were you
that.
watching a different race to us?
Liam didn't
No one saw him carve through the
I'm
field.
with you here. Like, I'm not sure what
The
Liam
moves
Lawson...
into turn 1 and turn 2.
Where he bumped into people.
didn't
Didn't he? Wasn't he a big
Takes off-
loser in turn 1 or something at the first corner?
Yeah, and then took back Behrman on the second lap, and then going into Albon, taking off his front wing. But when you've listened to the song "I'm Liam Lawson,"
But he qualified 13th and finished 11th.
yep,
Carved.
that's
too.
why it's
Carved.
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 It's a carvery.
A carvery.
yeah.
That's a
Yuki
real
actually
budget.
carved.
So you had a soundtrack running in your head while you're watching
Yeah.
him?
Why
Yeah,
watching
if
two
you've
passes?
ever heard the song,
I haven't.
Yeah,
no.
and we're not allowed to play it on the program because probably copyright and swearing.
I've had to have chats.
Please.
Fuck, we can't do that. I've had to have chats with Tristan about things that are good for podcasting and things that are not so good for podcasting. He always tries to talk about pictures. Talking about music doesn't work too
That's
well.
worse.
You're going to have to hum it now
Yeah.
or sing it. Here we go.
I can't-
He's going to give it a go.
I won't go for
He's
too
going to give it a
Get
go.
out of my way, I'm Liam Lawson. I'm Liam Lawson. Don't give a fuck if you're helmet marker. I'm Liam Lawson. I'm Liam Lawson.
Okay.
Fernando wants to fuck you. Helmet marker, fuck you. Christian want to fuck you. So that, and because I know the tune and everything, and Paige knows the tune as well, like we were actually starting to improvise lyrics as he was starting to crash and bash his way through the field.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bunny over here is just rapped. We haven't had rappers on the show before either.
No, but it's like thrash metal.
I know.
This is good.
And
But
we've
it was
got
supposed to be
aggressive.
thrash,
Look
yes.
how empty his wine glass
I know.
is.
Do you want some more? Does anyone want some more wine? Sorry,
No.
I have been a terrible host.
Yeah,
love some
I've
more?
been
Yes, please.
craving more.
So now I've
How
got
dare
to,
you?
Now I've got to think of another thing to do for an hour tomorrow because I won't be able to just play the podcast for the kids.
No,
come on.
no one's playing the
Yeah,
podcast.
good.
Thank you. Yeah, do you want some more wine?
You
Yeah, I'll go
could, you
for
could
it, yeah.
play the extensive 4-second highlights of Lawson carving through two cars in the field.
The song
what a-
goes for about 20 seconds.
what
so
a
yeah.
thrill.
There was a carvery.
What a thrill.
Maybe that needs to be a new segment too. The carvery.
The carvery.
Who carved it
Who
up?
carved through the field?
Most
Yeah.
overtakes. I don't mind that.
I have a couple of students, and as you do, that love Formula One. And so
Oh, yeah.
after a race, you have to walk in the door in the morning and do you know the results? And you'll say yes or no, or I'll
you
say
check yes.
And you no,
Yes,
okay, we can't
I have a
talk about
workmate
it.
who does that. It lets me know on the way out. I haven't watched it, but by lunchtime I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And then right on 11:50, I know what's happened. Let's talk about it.
I love it. I love it. F1.5.
F1.5, we're back. So many people had the worst week of their life last week because they didn't get to know the results. Now, 2 weeks
Oh,
ago...
I was trying to work
wasn't
out what
here.
happened.
No,
Yeah.
I wasn't in.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, I made the brave call. Braves. A lot of people said brave. Got a lot of messages over the week I was away.
From
Just people. It doesn't matter who they are. And decided that if Albon won the next race that he's promoted...
We talked about this.
In-
Did you listen to the program while you were away?
I did.
You actually did. You did actually tell me you did. Yeah, the first one he's listened to, I reckon.
Unlucky. I'm very lucky not to get to the day because over the course of the last 2 weeks, he has failed miserably. He has not won either of the last 2 rounds, so he's still in. And not only that, not only has he not won and taken his opportunity to be promoted into F1, the margin has cut drastically, and all of a sudden, and this is why it's the greatest championship in the world. Don't worry about F1, what's going on at the moment. No one cares about that. The margin has been cut drastically, and we are back on. Like, it's game on. F1.5 is back on. I'm
Okay.
excited. All right. Here's what I'll do for you tonight. I'll do something different. Mix it up.
Oh.
Because I like
How
doing all kinds of
unusual.
stuff for you.
How unusual.
No, I'm not going to do it. I know. People hang out for this bit. I can assure you. So last time...
Had some feedback about that, have you?
I did, but I didn't read it. I deleted it. I hit the delete button quickly. I don't know why. Right, just random order, and then I'm going to give you the top 4. I'm going to give you an extra one because it's on. I told you, it's game on here. It's game on. All right, Colapinto, 12 points. Now, just to watch on that, I've actually put Doohan back in because over the course of the 5 rounds, Doohan ended up on 19. And what are we? We're 2 away. We've got 2 left. So he's got 2 more cracks that's his little mini race at the moment. He's got to get to 19 the next 2 rounds to see if he's worthy of Jack's seat or not. Anyway, 12 to Colapinto, 66 to Lawson, We've got Bortoleto on 20. As much as we love what he's doing, he's really not scoring very well, is he? Hulkenberg 68. So won the week before and 25 this round. So he's the winner of the round. Doohan obviously finished his 5-race stint on 19. You got Gasly on 85. You got Fernando on 62. 12 points last round. Then you've got Stroll on 49. I can imagine, no points next week as well either. Behrman 70. And then 4th place. Esteban Ocon is tying down 4th place at the moment on 98 points. In 3rd place, only 3 points ahead on 101 is Sainz. 2nd place is Hadjar.
Geez, he wouldn't have picked up 3 points, Sainz, actually.
No, he hasn't. He's had 16 in the last 2 rounds.
And so what do you say he's on?
So he's on 101 for Sainz.
Yep.
So Ocon's on 98 in 4th. Sainz is on in 3rd on 101. So that's pretty tight there for the last podium spot. Isaac Hadjar has had a blinder in the last 2 rounds, 25 and 18, and he is up to 131. Albon leads all comers at the moment. He picked up a sneaky 5-point fastest lap, which I know Shane loves. Got a DM from Shane. Hey, mate, who's got fastest lap? I said, I'm really sorry. I'm not telling you until you get there on Tuesday. Just so many people asking. So Albon's no good. He's had 12 of a possible 50 points, which he was on fire. He's on 168.
How far ahead?
So, what's that? It's about a 30... What are we looking about? 43-point deficit, maybe 30-ish. My maths isn't good at this time of the day.
You'd have to think...
2 races.
We're on here.
Yeah, you have to think that all these... You have to think that all these teams have given up on, like, whatever is in the works is still going to come.
Yep.
But they're not developing anything more. So I would have thought these teams are sort of where they're going to be for the year.
I feel like the opportunity to be promoted is gone. So, 2 weeks ago... This is what the standing was. Albon was on 156.
Oh, you can't kick him out now.
No,
it's
not.
on.
I said it's back on. He's missed it. So Albon 2 weeks ago was on 156. Hadjar was on 88. And in that fortnight, Albon's added... What's that? Albon's added 12 points. And Hadjar's gone from 88 to 131. So a couple of weeks and you are... Yeah, it's game on and we're back in it. So F1.5 is alive and kicking for the rest second half of the year.
Dr. Auto Art.
Dr. Auto Art, thanks to Crypt Fantasy. We're diving straight into fantasy.
So I'm looking at like a Williams Constructor Champion.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't do Constructor in F1.5.
What do you mean?
1.5.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we haven't done constructors in
No, we don't do Constructor.
F1.5.
No time.
Yeah.
It's the greatest championship.
No time.
I haven't got time for that. I'm busy, man.
It is pretty hard to add those 2 numbers together.
It is actually, because I've got to plug my laptop on, and then I've got to open my dock, find where the add
You
button
would have
is.
to add all of Albon's points and all of Sainz's
I
points.
know, we've got to do that kind of stuff.
It's worth it.
Challenge me.
It is worth it.
Yep. Anyway, F1, what are we up to? So, fantasy. Thanks to Chris at Dr. Auto Art. Get around all of your
King's birthday weekend
F1
goodies.
King's birthday, yes. If you know someone.
Now, we might be confusing people in the UK. We celebrate, unknown to me, I think I did know, now I've forgotten.
We just celebrate stuff.
Different states in Australia will celebrate the King's birthday. Yes, that's right, we celebrate the King's birthday because we are part of the English Empire, and we celebrate the King's birthday on different days in Australia, strangely, and none of them are his birthday. So ours is coming up. So get yourself...
And you'll also... Yeah, get yourself
something
Dr.
British.
Art.
I think you got to get something British for the King's birthday.
Yeah,
Norris would be a good one.
You could get Oscar winning in Silverstone. He's very British.
Yeah,
that'd be great. I'd be getting that. Also, beknownst to you. And
when did he win there?
He will.
Okay.
Remember last year,
you'd order now.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to miss the rush. You'd order now and have it ready for Silverstone.
I'm with you.
A smart shopper when you're doing that. I like to promote things for Chris. Today is National Egg Day.
Oh.
So if you know someone who loves eggs and you are looking for a bit of Formula One merchandise
you can
for that person,
you can send him a great
Chris.
picture of an egg like Fernando Alonso.
And it's World Cider Day today. It's also World Bike Day as well.
Can't believe it's Cider Day.
And it's National Old Maids Day. So hello to all the old maids out there.
Say hi to my
It's
wife.
National...
Just kidding, she's a lot younger than I am, actually.
Shane. Wow.
Just kidding, I love you,
Wow.
I
hope you've got a blanket outside.
Has she ever listened?
Shoot.
Has she ever listened to you on there?
No.
You should tell her that this week
Paige
is a great...
listen still?
Yeah, definitely.
You should tell her that...
Carolee ever listen?
No.
No, Clara's never listened. Sometimes I'll put it on in the car as a gag. I'll say I'm doing a sound check, and then if I know I've got some funny bits coming up, I'll leave it on. Yeah.
I'll talk to her about it, fine. I can see her zone off so into the distance, so I just talk to myself. Anyway, thanks to Chris at Dr. Auto Art. Fantasy this week looks a little bit like this for the Spanish Grand Prix. Top 10 looks a little bit like this. Chloe Anderson leads all comers on 3:08. Having a great season, Chloe is. Backed it up from about a 9th, 80th finish last year. David Rojas in second on 300. Dino Bandini in third place on 285. Jolyon Dyer fourth on 284. Andy Tails, 279. Nicola Taylor on 274 points. Zanetta also on 274. James on 260. Adam Hughes, 257. Roman Merrick, 257. And then rounding out the top 10 is Tommy Wilson on 256 points for Spain. I finished in 16th place. I was very up and about on Saturday after qualifying because I was in front.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, hello.
You were due.
Oh, very much due. So
I
I sort of withheld the temptation to get on Williams, and I stayed with Mercedes, and that worked a treat. So I finished on 237 points, 16th for the round. How did you go, Shane, with fantasy?
I haven't got that many fingers and toes to count down that far.
Oh, that's okay.
45th, though, was 174.
That sucks.
I'm like your Haas. I'm just focusing on next year.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm rebuilding.
All right, there you go. Sam, where
He's
did you end up
developing.
for the round?
I have no idea. Just keep
gosh.
scrolling until we probably hit 40s, 50s probably.
Be aware of the segment, Sam, and what's going on. You have to have your stuff ready.
I just know that I suck.
know,
Like, we have to... Lance Stroll needs to be represented
people
in
need
this...
to know how much you suck.
Yeah, it is important
It's
to us.
important. There'll be people sitting around the table right now, family, friends, dinner. Gee,
Tristan and I.
yeah, how many?
Hang on, I'm
how
trying to look for
badly
him.
does he suck? It's just we don't know. He hasn't given us that information. You finished on 26th, my friend, 214. Not bad by you. It's not too bad. You haven't had the best weekend, and I beat you, which
No.
makes me happy. So
No, Albon cost me
Albon-
18 points. I brought in Alonso. You'll be proud of me. I brought Alonso
yes,
in.
good.
I
Well
saw a little
done.
upturn in Alonso. I
Yeah.
thought, you know what? I'm jumping on him.
good. I like that. He is the man. I've brought him in. He's 4.5, and he's still in the negatives. So
I'll be kicking him straight
comes
back
good.
out. You watch.
Hey, here we
Found
are.
you, Sam.
Where is he?
51st.
Oh,
Oy.
148
51st.
points.
I didn't even know we had.
That's for Spain.
I didn't even know we had 51 people.
Yeah, we had to get-
60, thank you.
I had
We
to
have
talk some extra
huge
people
amounts.
coming in, so
yeah,
Sam wasn't coming
good.
last.
I like that. Yeah, no, that's good, and that's what we do. It's supportive here.
Yeah, real supportive.
Top 10 looks like this overall. Jolyon Dyer leads all comers, 2,137. David Rojas in second, 2,086. A little bit of a gap there. Dean Holtz in third, 2,041. Roman Merrick and Andy Tails in fourth and fifth. Nicola Taylor in sixth. Chloe Anderson seventh on 1,927. Richard Davies, Aaron Norton and Roman Murta round out the top 10 on 1,864 apiece. I very much closed the gap to you this week, which I'm wrapped with. I mean,
Just
you're
looking at that.
21st, because you got a little bit of a skip on. You're 21st, 1,756, and I'm 22nd.
It's okay. It's just,
1,700.
a little,
Yeah, we all
just
know.
a little blot on
Yeah,
the
absolutely, it's
near
a blot.
perfect record
Yeah.
of Williams. Williams is going to pull me through this one.
Yeah, well, lucky you've got
The
the great
interesting
man
thing
Fernando.
with you two boys is
Yes.
what chips have you used? Have you used them all yet? How
I've
many
used
have you
no
used?
negative. That's the only one I've used.
I haven't used any. I never
Nothing
do.
else. He
I
doesn't
never
know
usually
chips
do.
exist.
I don't know how to.
No,
That's how you get him out at the end of the season when he just forgets what he does.
I don't trust anyone after your feedback earlier, and I
Well,
took
that's what I do.
Yes.
That's what a smart competitor does.
I'm in 43rd overall, 1,397. And Sam, you're in 49th.
Oy.
You're not that far behind me, so it could be game on.
Yeah, you guys are equally as Paul.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it's nice to have competition between
I'll tell you what is lovely to know.
What is lovely to know?
I'm not doing the artwork for anybody.
Ah, no,
That
because
is
Chris
good.
is... Yeah.
As much as I'd like to support Chris
Like,
with some
I love
artwork,
Chris.
it would be a good way to make
And I
him
was
give up
talking to
art.
Chris the other night too, and he didn't seem to mention it, so I think he's... In his heart of hearts, he knows that there'll be nothing hanging in the Dr. Auto Art
Yes.
in the art studio. So anyway, get around Chris, get on his Facebook, Instagram, Redbubble. Thanks, Chris, for being an incredible supporter of fantasy, and that is fantasy for the week. Did you do predict? I did predict.
I think I did actually.
Did you?
I haven't done it for
no,
weeks.
me neither. I feel like it's a fortnightly thing.
Oh, it's more than that at the moment for
Yeah,
me.
it's a
but-
little bit of a sort of, bit of whatever. I can't only do it when I remember. I scored 71 points for the week. How'd you go? I had a stinker. I was just,
Results. I scored 127
well,
points.
jeepers, there you go.
Did anyone else do it?
No.
I got
No,
three.
I shifted,
No,
so-
I got three correct. I got Lando on the podium. I had Max Lewis and Lando. I got a bit excited after practice. What did I get? I got question 4 right. How far will Hadjar progress? I went Q3. I got 15 points for that. I got Hadjar as well for 20, who'll finish the race ahead in question 7. And I got the last one, who'll be ahead in the team standings. I had Racing Bulls over the Haas. I went double for that one for 30. Other than that, I got everything else wrong.
Yeah, I pretty much got everything right.
There you go. That's why I don't do predict.
Yeah. I did not get the fastest pit stop. Who do you reckon got the fastest pit stop?
Sauber, wasn't it?
Sauber. What can't they do that team? They are
Yikes.
stunning.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Any news? There's nothing.
Not really. I mean, we talked about Lance, didn't we? He was your big topic news item there.
Max has applied for a platinum FIA license, which means that he can just jump out of the series. So the only other drivers that have got FIA platinum licenses are Lando Norris, Lance Stroll. That's a little bit of good news. Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon.
What's the purpose of a platinum?
So Le Mans, WEC.
But you can't say that the drivers of Le Mans have got platinum.
You have
you don't have to qualify.
You have a gold, a silver, a bronze.
Yeah, I understand that, but all the Le Mans drivers don't have platinum. Because I read that, I was trying to work out what the benefit was, but then I went and had a look, and the Le Mans drivers don't all have platinum. Is it that they don't have to do the series and then can drive Le Mans?
Maybe.
Yeah, so pretty much, like, you don't have to start in, say, like a GT3 car, start at bronze, and work all your way up through, like, amateur, pro-am,
So you can go and drive any series without
Max.
doing any of the qualifying requirements.
Yep, Max can just jump into the Ferrari 499 hypercar.
Right.
No questions asked. He's in, he's gone.
Right. Okay. Interesting. There you go. And the platinum license it's not the same as super points, which is also quite interesting, isn't it? Like you don't get a special colour for your license for a Formula One, do you? But anyway, yeah, it's interesting they're using platinum. Surely titanium was the right one for Formula One. They use a lot more of that, don't they?
Carbon fibre.
That's a little bit of news. They were playing around with some metals. They were playing around with some metals in the skid block underneath the car. Didn't see any results or hear anything of it, so it must have been incredibly interesting for everybody. And then we saw the wings. So we saw the new technical directive come in where the wings couldn't flex a certain amount. Did it have any effect on racing, do you think?
I don't think it affected McLaren in any way, shape or form. I think everyone else has suffered, but by the minutest of margins. That extra bracket, I can't imagine.
I think everyone had a little bit of trouble with some balance this race weekend, but I think that's just new learnings.
I think, 2 rounds and we'll be back to good, I think.
Yeah, possibly those teams that haven't quite got the funding actually haven't lost as much because they might have developed flexi wings as well.
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah, true.
Which Haas has done, Sauber have done quite well recently.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, maybe that could be, actually. Is there a correlation there?
And McLaren already had a plan for it too. Like they had that already implemented.
Well, I think everyone sort of had something implemented.
Yeah, I guess they've got the luxury of leading the constructors. They can just let's do it a bit earlier and see how it goes. So yeah.
Any other news, lads?
No, that's it.
No, we're off to Canada next. What a wonderful racetrack.
And what a shocker time for us too. Like
Is it? What time are we looking at?
It's like a 4 a.m. start.
Oh no, I like a 4 a.m. Love a 4 a.m.
Likes a 4 a.m.
You go to bed and you get up.
Yeah, I know.
Start your day.
4 is difficult to.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a 4 a.m. That's probably my worst time. I don't like to wake at 4 and just like ugh.
Okay,
it's probably only about 30 minutes earlier.
Yeah, right. So no, Canada. Where's your tip for Canada? It's got to be Oscar, doesn't it?
Yep.
All confidence in Oscar?
Yep. No, you know what? I'm going to go Lando. Oh yeah, bounce back.
A bounce back from Lando?
Yeah, bounce back from Lando. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
I've been waiting for it. I'm not convinced it's coming the way I thought it might.
Yeah, I just feel. Gut feel it says Lando for this one. Yep.
Okay,
Sam? Interesting. Sorry, Sam. Go.
Yeah.
Sensible says Oscar. Voice in the back of my head says Max. Like, if he's going to go for the 1 point, he's just going to go barroom brawler all the way out the front. That way he can't get penalty points. Like, does he just throw off the gloves, goes for first, and just somehow gets it? Because it's Canada.
They had trouble overtaking last year, didn't they? I think, in Canada. Yeah. But it hasn't typically been a complete can't overtake. There was something about last year. I can't remember what it was, though. Yeah, okay, all right. And Yeah, for me it's Oscar. Outsider, I think we'll see a bounce back from Williams. I think, I think that track did not suit them. Don't really like the hot weather. Nothing be that hot in Canada. Keep your ears out for Fan Frenzy. Fan Frenzy will be coming up sometime in the next couple of days. So keep your ears peeled for that one, eyes peeled for that one, and then we'll be talking to you after Canada. Goodbye now.